All right, we're going to look at how to sort a list, a contact list by last name in GoHighLevel. Seems like that would be a simple thing to do, but it turns out it's not. I had a client call me. They needed to be able to sort this list by last name so that they can compare it with another list that they had from another system. And there's no easy way to do that in the GoHighLevel interface. So I'll show you what the problem is. If you look on the name field, you have the full name listed in this column. And so if you sort on that column, then it sorts by the first name because it's the first name, last name is how this is done. So you would think, well, it's okay. I'll just add a column for last name. So you come up here to columns, and if you do this column drop down, you can add columns to your view. But it turns out last name is not available as a column to add in the Smart List view. I don't know why not, but it's not. So in order to solve this problem, what I did, I don't know if this is the best way to do it, but this is how I solved it. I created a workflow to clone the last name into another field, into a custom field that we could then sort on. But there's another quirk there. There's another GoHighLevel quirk when you do that. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So we're going to come in here and we're going to create a custom field. We went to settings, custom fields, add field, and it's going to be a single line text. We're going to call this last name sort. There's already a last name field on the contact record. It's just not visible in that drop down list. So this is going to be last name sort. And then we'll go back and we'll create an automation, a workflow. By coming up here, we'll create a new workflow, start from scratch. And the action is going to be to update a contact field. So we are going to make the last name sort field be the contact's last name, just like that. Now here's the other little quirk that I was talking about. So in order to trigger this workflow, we're going to add a trigger in here, and what we would like to have so that it would stay synced with last name changes is we would like to use the contact change trigger so that every time the last name field changes, this workflow will update the last name sorted field. I hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense to you. The problem is it doesn't work. And the reason is that when this, you can read, I don't know if you can read this small print right here, but on the contact changed workflow trigger, the trigger only runs for changes in tags, assign user, D&D, and custom fields. That excludes the standard fields that are part of the contact, part of the contact object in GoHighLevel, which the last name field is one of them, which means that this trigger will not trigger the workflow when the last name field is updated. So what we can do, that's a useless one. We're not going to use it. We're going to do a contact created trigger. And then we don't need a filter because we want this to happen every time a new contact is created. So we'll just save that trigger. So now with this workflow the way it is, let's name it. We'll call it clone last name. We'll turn it on, publish it, and then when I save this, now every time a contact is created on the sub account, their last name will be cloned into that last name field. But like I said, it will not sync changes. So after a contact is created, you realize, oh, I spelled the last name wrong, or the person's last name changed, and you go make an update, it will not sync those two fields. So the only way that you can do that, the only way that I know of that you can make sure it stays synced is when you go to, you have to do it manually. You're on your smart list, okay? And this little checkbox right here lets you select all of the records. But you see it's only selected 20 on my case. This is all demo content. None of these names are real. But there's only 20 records visible. You have to click this little link to select all records. And once you select all the records with no filters in place, that's all of your contacts. And then you can come up here and click on this little add to automation, this little robot icon, and select your workflow. Clone last name. We're going to do it all at once. Add to automation. Oops. We're going to go. You have to tell it why or what you're doing. So we're typing here update last names, and then click add to automation. And now it's going to go through the whole list. It's going to go through all of my contacts and make the last name and the last name clone field sync. So I'll say OK. And now this is where the magic happens. So while I'm on this screen, I can come up here and hit the drop down. And now I find this last name sort field. This is the custom field that we created that I can now add to my view. And now I can sort on that column. And like I said, every once in a while you'll have to, especially if you've had updates on a last name, you'll have to go in and manually feed it back through that workflow. But it's a GoHighLevel quirk, and now you know how to do it.